that we've helped to put together. But just real quick while we're waiting, I'll just give you a little bit of background on what role each of our respective companies play. First, Craig at SalesNexus. SalesNexus is a email marketing and CRM solution, really a unique combination of those two things, and that's why we decided to partner with Craig, is because it truly is a email marketing solution with CRM built in, or a CRM solution with email marketing built in, as opposed to a lot of what you see out of the market, which is a CRM solution with an email marketing module that you pay extra for and is not truly built from the foundation up as part of a single solution. Michael Halper at SalesScripter. SalesScripter is basically a tool that allows you to, in a nutshell, always say the right thing when you're talking to a prospect, and to really have a formula for what to say, when, to who, and how to sell to them, not just for yourself, but really ideally for your sales team. It's a great training tool. It's a great tool for creating training documentation, and a great tool for really just refining your process of selling right down to what words to use and what works, and really got to kind of see it to understand it, but it's very step-by-step, easily put together, fill in the blank sort of information that creates not just scripts, but a layer up from that, really processes that allow you to optimize your sales results. Again, so really on a word-by-word basis of what you're saying to your prospects. And then myself, I'm founder and CEO of LeadFerret, the world's first site with millions of free B2B records with complete information, including email addresses. We like to say there are a lot of other companies out there that or complete information that's very not free, and we're really the best of both worlds in the sense that we provide complete information, including email addresses, for free. And you really, again, kind of have to see it to believe it, because when you literally search for or find your ideal target prospects and then you see them on the screen, including their email address, a lot of people just got to have that aha moment. Again, it's completely free, 15 million records at this point you can access, so you got to check that out. So that's a little bit of background. Craig, are we ready to get started?
Yeah, I got the slides up here, and again, apologize to everybody for the late start. We just had some unexpected technical trouble here, and hopefully Michael will be able to join us here as we go. He was having some trouble connecting. And thanks for the introduction, Forrest. And one thing I wanted to be sure and point out is at the end of the presentation today, we're going to share with you guys some information about some results that we're starting to see. We did a very similar webinar just a little bit, well, right at the beginning of the summer, and we started, we at that webinar introduced a package we call our starter kit, which we're going to talk about later. And we've had some customers that have been all the way through the starter kit. They've gotten their contact from LeadFerret. They've sent out their emails, and we have some results from those campaigns to tell you about. So it's really exciting. You're going to be very impressed with the results. So we'll get to that at the end of the presentation. So let me go ahead and get it started. Forrest introduced us all already, so I'll jump past that. You know, basically, what we want to talk about today is, you know, the real world that we all live in as salespeople, right? You know, I'm a sales manager. I'm a business owner. I need to increase sales, of course, but I'm just not getting enough appointments. Not enough leads, not enough appointments, maybe not enough qualified appointments. And when I start thinking about what to do about that, the landscape gets very confusing and crowded with options, and it's very difficult for me to make informed decisions about where to spend my money and time. So one of the first things that we typically look at is, when I'm contacting the leads that I do have, am I saying what I need to say? Am I saying the right things? Am I asking the right questions? And I think we all are constantly trying to improve in that area. But again, sometimes it's difficult to know what the right things are. So that's what Sales Scripter is all about. The Sales Scripter will tell you what to say and what to ask. And it really is that simple, and that's what's so cool about the Sales Scripter. You spend maybe 30 minutes or so answering some questions, and the Sales Scripter will come back and give you scripts for what to say to the gatekeeper and what to say to in your voicemail, what to say when you get the decision maker on the phone, what questions to ask to qualify them, an entire phone calling script. But also, it gives you email templates. So if you want to have an email to send before you call, maybe you send it in the morning and make a call in the afternoon or something like that, there's an email that comes from the scripter for that. If you want to have an email that you send after you make the call, then there's an email that comes out of the scripter for that. It also gives you a content marketing outline, basically your editorial calendar, topics that you should find or create content about, blog posts, videos, etc. So now you've figured out what to say and what to ask, but now who should I be contacting with this information? And again, lots of options there, and it can be very, very confusing. So that's where LeadFerret comes in. So LeadFerret can provide you with the contacts that you need, to, including the email addresses and all of their phone numbers and addresses and everything you need. So now you're empowered with the list of people and what to say to them on the phone and or in an email. So once you've accessed your contacts in LeadFerret and use the Sales Scripter to be ready to say the right things and ask the right questions, then we can automate the outreach process using Sales Nexus. So right in Sales Scripter, or I'm sorry, right in LeadFerret, as you see here on the screen, there's a To Sales Nexus tab, so you can transfer your LeadFerret contacts into Sales Nexus and automatically put them on a automated email campaign, or use Sales Nexus to manage an outbound calling effort. And just as importantly, track all of the results. So the process for getting all this started is to go to Sales Scripter, create your basic subscription. There's zero cost. Then go to Sales Nexus and create your free trial. Again, no cost for 30 days. And go to LeadFerret and open an account, which is free, and link it to Sales Nexus. In LeadFerret, it will ask you for your Sales Nexus credentials. And when you do that, you'll immediately have the ability to transfer 500 contacts from LeadFerret into Sales Nexus and begin reaching out to those contacts, all at no charge. So, zero cost, and you've got 500 leads that you and templates to send them in email and start generating results, generating leads. And as I mentioned earlier, that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, the kind of results that some of our customers are beginning to see. In fact, what I wanted to do is pull up some actual results. So one of our customers that has used gone through the starter kit process has already sent out several hundred emails. And what they did is they had a case study that came from sort of their corporate office about an auto dealership and their sales team, and how providing their service to that sales team had to increase their results. So they sent out an email to other auto dealership sales managers saying, hey, we thought you'd be interested in how Darlings Auto Group grew sales. Click here to read the case study. And you can see here's a list of all the people that clicked on that email, clicked to read that case study. He has hundreds of people that have read that case study. So what's so powerful about that is that, number one, he selected the right people in LeadFerret. So he knows these are people that, in general, are in his market, his target market. Then he sent out this email with the case study about Darlings Auto Group. So the people that received that email and clicked that link to read the case study are essentially saying to him, I'm in your market, and I am interested in what you've done at Darlings Auto Group. I want to learn more about that. That makes them a great prospect for him, right? And then he gets on the phone, and using the script that came out of Sales Scripter, he knows exactly what to say to them, and just as importantly, exactly what to ask them in order to really qualify them before setting an appointment. So that's the way this process can work. And as I said, with this starter kit that we began offering at the beginning of the summer, we're just seeing consistently stellar results with this. It just works. If there's any magic in it, it's writing those emails properly. But that's what the starter kit is all about, is we're going to help you do that. And you're going to see these kind of results. We're seeing it in all sorts of different industries. It could be the auto business, could be more of a technical business. That's another area where this kind of approach can be highly effective, where you have something very, very technical that is sort of difficult to get people engaged in a conversation about. And these content-based emails where they click and read some information tell you who's interested in having that conversation. Let's see. So I have another example, some results that I wanted to show you. Here we go. So here's another customer that's been through the starter kit. And in his case, he didn't have a bunch of content already prepared by his company or himself or whatever. So what we did is he went through the Sales Scripter, and it produced that content marketing outline. And we took those content marketing topic suggestions, and we just did a Google search for those topics. And what we found, that you can see here in the results, the links that have been clicked on in his emails, we found articles on Forbes, Forbes.com, and CRMbuyer.com. And we wrote emails that link to those articles on other people's sites. So you don't even have to create your own articles and things. You can use other people's content. In fact, in many cases, that can be a good thing, because you're now associating yourself with a bigger brand like Forbes.com. So in this case, I think Mark sent out a total of about 100 emails, and he had 19 people click on those links. So with the sales scripter, he downloaded, he knew exactly what to pick up the phone and say to those contacts, and began setting appointments. And I think last time Mark, in the first week, he had set 4 or 5 appointments with these folks, and what he told me was normally he sets 1 or 2 appointments in a whole week. You know, so that's the kind of results that you should expect from this kind of approach. Bear with me a sec, guys. I'm going to try and pull up the questions, so I'll make sure we address your questions as we go here.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth noting, Craig, that that 19, although it's a very small sample size, in general we see this consistently. 19 clicks out of 100 emails sent is a exceptional click-through rate. You don't typically see something like that, but we really believe it's about this sort of triangulating process where you're getting the right message, sending it using the right tool to the right audience, and it's really a relevancy factor. When it's relevant and it's delivered properly, you know, you will see dramatically improved results over what you might have seen historically. I know that most B2B email marketing campaigns, you know, a 0.5% or 1% click-through rate is considered average. So definitely that's a big part of the objective, is to improve upon metrics like that.
Yeah, in fact, I'm having some technical trouble here myself, but what I think I ought to do is just get into LeadFerret and just kind of show everybody how that works. Because, you know, Forrest, you just quoted some sort of typical click-through rates, and give me those numbers again.
Yeah, it's usually anywhere from, you know, 0.5% to 1% is considered average for a click-through rate. Now, this is a really small sample size, and I wouldn't say that everybody should expect a 19% click-through rate, but definitely we see when the correct approach is taken, the correct verbiage is used, and it's sent to the appropriate and relevant audience, that you can definitely at least, you know, see in the 3 to 5% range consistently.
Right. Yeah, exactly, and that's what we're seeing actually, Forrest. You know, with these starter kits that we've done so far, you know, in the neighborhood of 3 to 5%, which, as you just pointed out, is much better than typical. And when you combine that with the fact that you've already you have a very closely targeted list. This is not shotgun, really. You know, so just as an example, maybe I want to talk to CEOs, C-level folks, and VPs that are in some sort of a sales or business development role. And you can see you can select all sorts of different professions and different sort of managerial levels. And I could also narrow it down to a specific industry. So I can put in an SIC code that indicates that they're a electronics manufacturer or a food service provider, and, you know, any other industry that you want to target. I could also say I only want to work with people with $10 million in revenue or more and 10 employees or more. And you can see there's other criteria. I could narrow it down by state. And the other thing that people really love is I can search around a zip. But I'm going to go ahead and perform that search, and we'll see what we get. I think I probably set my criteria too broadly. It looks like it's going to give me a big, big list. So while that's coming back, what I want to do is kind of show you the flow of how you can build up your targeted list. So we're going to do this search, and then we'll narrow it down a little bit, and then we'll come back and do another search. And what's great about LeadFerret is it lets you it lets you do what they call target the contacts. So I'll just select the ones I want to target, and they get added to my target list. And then once I've gone and collected all of my targets, then I can do something with them. And just to be clear, as a SalesNexus subscriber, you get 500 LeadFerret contacts per month, which means during your 30-day free trial of SalesNexus, you get 500 LeadFerret contacts. And then the next month, if you continue your subscription, you get another 500. And then a month after that, if you get another 500. So at the end of a year, you've got 6,000 contacts that you've selected and added to your list. So you can see here, I got 43,000 contacts to choose from. So that's way more than I can deal with right now. So I'm going to narrow it down. I'm going to say I want everybody within 40 miles of downtown Houston.
Or another really good way to narrow that down is to in some sense not narrow it down, which is when we return the results to you, Greg, we actually put the highest quality results at the top of the search. So if let's say if you already had a number in mind, like I just want to send 5,000 emails, or if you are transferring to SalesNexus and you have that 500 record credit. By the way, you can actually always purchase more credits if you're interested as well, and you can contact us about that. But if you just want to transfer 500, you could take the 500 with the highest quality score by simply targeting those the first 500 records, or adding the first 500 records to your target contact list, then going into your target contact list and transferring those 500 records directly into SalesNexus. So oftentimes the best way to narrow a search like that, if you get a lot more results than you need, is to just take the top 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever it is that you're looking for, because that's going to give you the highest quality records. And just real quickly on what quality means is basically we're constantly running verification tests on this data, and essentially the more tests a record passes, and the more recently those tests have been executed, the higher the quality score. If a record starts failing tests, the quality score starts dropping, and as time passes since the last time that was verified, the quality score drops as well. So it's a pretty good indicator of how recently that record has been verified as accurate.
Yeah, and so here I narrowed it down to contacts within 40 miles of downtown Houston, and you see right here, just like Forrest said, the score, and they're ranked in that order. And one of the things that LeadFerret makes super easy is I can go right here, just like Forrest said, and I can say add the first 500 to my target list. So I hit that button, and you'll see over here on the right where it says target, they're all going to be updated, and they'll be red in a minute because they'll be now on my target list. So I've taken 500 of those guys. So these are big corporations. They're VPs of sales and business development here in the Houston area. And then if I wanted to do a different search and come back and say, you know what, let me now look for financial professionals. And I want to this time put a cap on it and say I don't want to go over $500 million in revenue. That's really kind of outside of our sweet spot. So I'll do another search. Now those results come back, and you can see I have 900 of those. So I could say, all right, let me add the best 100 of those to my target list. So, and I can keep doing this. I can search different areas. different industries, different titles, you name it. And when I'm done, I go up to the top and I say dashboard target contacts. And there's all my targeted contacts. So now I can start moving them over to Sales Nexus. So again, just like we did with targeting, I could say take those first 600, the ones I've just targeted, and transfer them to Sales Nexus. And over here, it'll ask you for your Sales Nexus credentials, and you put in your password and hit transfer, and those contacts come over into Sales Nexus. So there in Sales Nexus, let me just pull up an example of that. I'm pulling up all my contacts that have transferred over from LeadFerret. And that's going to be a big list. And we're going to take those contacts and put them on a campaign. So let's see, I'm going to pull up here while we're waiting on that. I want to pull up some examples of the emails that we're creating as a part of this starter kit program. So these are just the sort of the draft of the copy. These are not the final designed emails, but I just want to give everybody a feeling for how easy it is to create these emails once you find some good content. So this customer had found he does consulting, sort of practice development consulting for dentists and doctors. And he had found a video that's pretty cool, actually. It's called Steve Jobs, The Lost Interview. If you're a Steve Jobs fan or an Apple fan, look that up and check that out because it's really interesting. It's like an interview that he did 10 or 15 years ago that kind of has recently resurfaced, and it's really interesting the comments he has back at that time in his life. But he talks a lot about leadership and management, and so this customer wanted to recommend that to their prospective customers. So you see the email, all it does is highlight the pains that this customer solve for his customers. So it says, do your team members love you as much as your patients do? Are you struggling to hire, train, and keep a team that creates the kind of practice culture and environment you envision? Are you having a hard time growing your practice? If so, you may be surprised to learn that Steve Jobs struggled with similar challenges. I thought you might enjoy this power-packed 70-minute video interview with Steve Jobs. Click here to access Steve Jobs, The Lost Interview. And that's it. Very simple, right? But if somebody clicks that because he selected them in the first place in LeadFerret, then we know we want to talk to that person, right? So it's a very effective technique. And I'm still waiting on my list to come up. Sorry, guys. I think I didn't realize it, but this is probably a huge, huge list. It might be tens of thousands of people, so it's taken a few minutes. But, you know, that's the idea. And that's, so with this, to be more clear about the starter kit, that's what we're going to do. You're going to go through the sales scripter. Let me go ahead and pull that up, too. And you're going to answer some questions. It's going to take you, like I said, a little while. It might take you 30 minutes or so. And it's got information about your customers, how you sell, who you sell to. and then it's going to give you back the scripts like we talked about. Let me go ahead and log in there and show you guys an example of that. Well, unfortunately, it looks like my subscription got unsubscribed or inactivated. I need to pay Michael. What I wanted to do is show you an example of the input screen, but we'll skip that for now. It's real simple. It asks you questions like, what is the problem that your customers have that makes them need your product? And you type in your answer, and it'll ask you similar questions on several different screens, and then boom, you have scripts, for voicemail, for getting past the gatekeeper, for talking to the decision maker, for qualifying the decision maker, for sending an email, and like we talked about before, the content marketing outline. So just to give you an example of how easy finding this content can be if you don't already have your own content. Let's say that I'm in the sales hiring business. So I help people find good salespeople. So I'm going to search for having trouble hiring salespeople. And in Google, there we go. Purposeful hiring, how to hire great salespeople on Forbes.com. I haven't even seen it yet, and I already know it's a great article to use in one of these campaigns. Because again, the idea is not that we're going to have somebody get this email and instantly pick up the phone and call you and say, oh my God, I need your product now. That's not realistic. That's not the real world. The idea is that they're going to click the link and they're going to read this article, and it's going to help them have more clarity and understanding about the problem that they're currently faced with and what some of the options are for addressing that problem. And the more educated they become, the more they're going to appreciate your product or service because they're going to understand its value. So now you pick up the phone and you say, hey, Bob, I noticed you took a look at purposeful hiring, how to hire great salespeople on purpose. Are you currently hiring salespeople? And boom, you're in the middle of a very warm call with that prospect, talking to them about a topic that you know is on their mind right now. I want to show you, let me see if I can just get past this here. There's an element of this that's also very important, which is the timeliness of the response. So if I send out my emails in the morning and people click and read the articles in the morning, but I don't get around to calling them till late that same day or maybe the following morning, that's okay. We know that they have, we know that they're probably qualified, but a lot has happened since I saw that email and read that article, right? So what I suggest you do is try to gear things so that you can give them a call, the same morning, or if they click it in the afternoon, that same afternoon, because it's still going to be top of mind. They're going to remember your company name. They're going to remember that article. Everything's going to be much, much warmer. And with Sales Nexus, it makes it real easy to do that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and try to start over there because that search was just bogging everything down. LeadFerret has given us way too many contacts. So the timeliness of these responses is really important in terms of the results. Essentially, there's one thing that we can't fix here, and that is it's hard to get people on the phone, right? So that's why the timeliness is so important. If you call, relatively in the same time zone that they've clicked, number one, they're at their desk, right? They're at work. They're not on vacation. They're not off on a business trip. They're reading emails. So they're much more likely to take a call at that point anyway. And again, it's going to be top of mind for them. See if I can get in here. Lots of technical troubles today. Apologize about that for everybody, but appreciate you hanging in there with us. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right into kind of the results, the way that we do it in our business, the way that we train people to do this in the Starter Kit program. It's not the only way, but it's certainly an easy and very efficient way to handle things. So I'm going to go to a task list here. So right here, Gabriel does a lot of the outbound calling on our team, okay? Some of you may have heard from Gabriel. And right here, what you're seeing, all these click notifications. So the task list is Gabriel's, to-do list for the day. These are the calls he needs to make. And these click notifications are automatically showing up on his task list instantly when one of these emails is clicked. So he's sitting there doing his thing every day, and all of a sudden a click notification shows up from Elaine, and boom, he's on the phone with Elaine talking to her about qualify sales leads early, close often. Right here in the subject, that is the subject of the email that Elaine clicked on. So Gabriel knows exactly what to talk to her about. He can then go and look at the history and see all the different emails that Elaine has received. And that's very interesting too, right? Because now we know she's received all these different emails with different subjects, and this is the one she happened to respond to. That tells you a lot about her interest. So that can be very powerful as well. I'm seeing here a question that came in asking about regulated industries and so on. And, I'm familiar with that. So like in the financial business, insurance, financial advisors, people like that have some regulations about what they're able to email to customers. We work with some folks in the real estate and the title business, and there's similar types of restrictions there. Healthcare is another good example. I'm not an expert in any one of those areas by any means, but we've worked with customers in all of those different industries, so I'm familiar with the sort of legal and regulatory hurdles that you have to deal with there. And the bottom line is, that's one of the benefits of this type of approach, is you can go to, normally in that industry, those industries, you'll have somebody on your team that's sort of the compliance officer, if you will, right? The person that things have to be run past for them to sign off on them and to make sure they're in compliance with all the regulations. Well, you run that trap, you write your email, run it through the compliance people, get their sign off on it, put it in the system, and now everybody on your team can use those emails with full confidence that they are in compliance and not having to worry about every email they type from scratch being a problem of some sort. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. I think we're getting kind of the general gist of the approach here. I want to get into sort of the specifics of the starter kit and what's included and everything there. But certainly, if anybody has any questions here before we get to the top of the hour, type them in there and in the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll try to respond to those here before we run out of time.
And just to be clear, Craig, what would somebody have to pay out of pocket to get started with a starter kit?
It's $780. So let me kind of detail out what all you get there. You get a 30-day subscription to SalesScripter.com, and that's the full version. There's a free version of SalesScripter that doesn't have the full functionality, but as a part of the starter kit, you get the full version of SalesScripter for 30 days. You also get 30 to 45-minute email campaign consultation. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to the scripter, fill it out, send us the output, then we're going to get on the phone with you and talk about that output. So the sales scripter is really going to set the table for this whole process. Then we'll talk with you about it and clarify and ask questions, make sure we're understanding things clearly. During that same call, we're going to do a little research in Google and look for content that might be appropriate, or look at content that you already have yourself that you might want to use. And we're going to talk about your target prospects and how we're going to identify those in LeadFerret. And then at the end of that call, we'll go away and we're going to write you 3 emails like we looked at before. They're going to be real simple, just recommending a content piece to your prospect. Could be an article like we looked at earlier, could be a video or something. I have a customer we're working with right now that's creating his own videos for this, and that's going to be really powerful. Video is very engaging. And anyway, we'll write those emails, we'll send you the copy, you'll look it over and make changes or suggestions. We'll finalize that, and then we're going to create your email template in SalesNexus. Then we're going to help you download your 500 LeadFerret contacts according to the criteria that we discussed, early in the program. And then we're going to flip on your campaign. So all of this will unfold over the course of, when it's all said and done, typically takes a couple to, 2 to 3 weeks, just because you're busy and it's sometimes tough to get everything on the calendar for you. But 2 weeks on the short side and 3 weeks on the long side, and your campaign's underway, and you've got emails. You've got 3 different emails going out to 500 people, so you're actually sending 1,500 emails, right? And so what we've been saying is we're very sure that you're going to end up with 5 to 20 qualified leads. And I would say that now that we've been doing this for almost 3 months with several different customers, those are very achievable, consistently achievable results. I don't know any reason why anyone in any industry couldn't achieve those kind of results. And that's all in the first 30 days. But what's really powerful about this whole thing is that you're not just getting a 30-day subscription to everything. You get to continue to use all of this for a year. So we've set it all up in that first month, and we've sent out your campaign to the first 500 contacts. but you can still go back to LeadFerret every additional month and get another 500 contacts. So over the course of a year, you get 6,000 contacts to put on this same email campaign. So you're going to generate 60 to 200 qualified leads or more. So, as I mentioned earlier, the price for that is $780. Again, you get the SalesScripter full version for 30 days. You get a 1-year subscription to SalesNexus Complete, and you're getting 6,000 contacts from LeadFerret with the email addresses and everything else that LeadFerret has to offer. You're getting a polished 3-email campaign, and it's going to generate for you 60 to 200 qualified leads. The only thing that is up to you is to pick up the phone and call the people that click. That's all you have to do. So it's a great way to get this started, and what's really exciting to me is that what I'm seeing with the customers that have been through this, the starter kit so far is that it really sets the table for you to do a lot more. Once you see how this works, kind of get a feel for the right types of content and the right ways to talk about it in an email for your market, you're going to start creating all kinds of stuff because you'll know how to do it. And of course, we can help you with that as well. But this is a great way to get the whole process just, off and running and start generating actual leads in the near term. So let's see, a few questions. I see what's the monthly cost after the initial free month. So you can sign up for the the SalesReady Lead Starter Kit, and that's $780, and it's getting you SalesNexus and access to 6,000 LeadFerret contacts for a year. Or you can also go month to month and pay $75 a month for SalesNexus, and you still get 500 contacts from LeadFerret every month. But that wouldn't include the creation of the campaign and so on, like we've talked about in the starter kit. There's somebody asking about the SalesScripter pricing, which is a great question. Excuse me. After your first month, which you get free as a part of the starter kit, the SalesScripter is $19 a month after that. The other thing that I'll mention real quickly is that for those of you who have a sales team, more than one salesperson, Michael's just released what he calls SalesScripter Team. This is a really super powerful way to leverage the scripter. You can create a script for your business and then basically push it out to all of the salespeople on your team, and then they can go in and make their own modifications to the script to kind of personalize it for them. Maybe you have salespeople in different vertical markets. You want to create a general script that they can then go and tailor for that vertical, whatever. But it lets them, it's a great way to distribute the script, manage it, and then let each salesperson kind of have ownership and personalize it. So be sure and check out SalesScripter Team. And then also there's somebody asking about the monthly cost for LeadFerret. So Forrest, I'll let you chime in there, but the good news is there is none.
Yeah, so I mean our slogan at LeadFerret is free data changes everything, and it really is free data. You can view any and all of the 10 million records on LeadFerret for free, all the information. We don't withhold anything from you for being a free user.
Forrest, are you there?
Great, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So, yeah, as Craig was saying, LeadFerret is free. With the SalesNexus account, you can actually transfer 500 records over to your SalesNexus account for free. That's all through a very simple API, as Craig showed you, that is all kind of behind the scenes, seamlessly transfers all that data for you, never transfers duplicates, always only transfers a record one time. Even if you have records that you've imported into your SalesNexus account that weren't from LeadFerret, we will compare the data that you're about to transfer with those and only transfer over new records. So it's really a well thought out and executed process that works extremely well for people, whether they're just getting started or they've been using SalesNexus for a while. So again, you get 500 records a month as long as you have a SalesNexus account at no additional cost whatsoever. You also can purchase any additional records that you want. So if 500 records is not enough, you could literally purchase 5,000 a month, and our pricing is very competitive. In fact, it's well beyond competitive. Sometimes it's a fraction of what a lot of other solutions out there charge per record. It's always less, 10 cents or less per record, oftentimes in higher volumes as low as 7.5 cents per record. And you can essentially purchase points on LeadFerret, use those to transfer records over to SalesNexus at any volume that you'd like. And again, on LeadFerret, you can view all the data on the screen for free and transfer 500 to SalesNexus a month for free. And then you also only pay us the same nominal fee if you decide to download any records into a spreadsheet. So yeah, you can definitely get started with zero out-of-pocket cost for the LeadFerret component or the data component.
Yeah, and one other quick thing about LeadFerret that is really important, we haven't talked about it because we're really today talking about using LeadFerret to basically build up an email list to send these content emails to. But the other way that LeadFerret can be significantly valuable is just general research. Like, let's say somebody were to say to you, later today, hey, I got a friend that works over at Frito-Lay, and they're about to buy whatever it is you sell, right? Well, so now you need to figure out who to talk to at not at LeadFerret, but at Frito-Lay. But you can go into LeadFerret and type in Frito-Lay, and you've got their whole executive staff staring at you with all of their phone numbers and email addresses, even social profiles. So it's a great way just to research key accounts and things like that, and get in touch with the right people.
Yeah, you could even search for people by a specific name. A lot of times if you find a contact, say online, Google or LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that, and you're interested in reaching out to them, but you don't have their email address or direct phone number, you can oftentimes search directly by that person's name and find them on LeadFerret as well.
Yeah. Here's a question that came in that I'm interested in your opinion about, Forrest. Scott's asking about the Polish 3 email campaign, and does it include creatives? Which is a good question, and the technical answer to his question is no, we're not going to do a lot of design work in this starter kit. We're going to write the emails, and we're going to create you basically essentially a text-based email. If you want to, we could put your logo or, in fact, I mentioned earlier the customer that's creating videos, that's his content. Well, he's also created little thumbnails that we're putting in the emails, so that people can click on the image to start the video. So we'll do that kind of basic stuff, but we're not going to really do any kind of a significant design job. If you have your own design, we can drop that into these emails real easily. But Forrest, I'm wondering about your thoughts in terms of the importance of design in this kind of email versus a text-based email.
Yeah, and obviously you're asking that as a rhetorical question, Greg, because you know as well as I do that oftentimes less is more when it comes to email design. There was a time when a lot of companies, and actually many still do, but a lot of companies spend a lot of money on creative, and I experienced myself that a lot of times people would spend as much of their marketing budget developing email creative as they would all the other components of an email campaign, delivery, acquisition of data, things of that nature. But the reality is that, that as you make an email more complex, more HTML, more images, more links, there's a greater chance that it's going to end up in a spam filter. It's also more easily recognizable by the recipient as something that's not really directly from an individual person, but more just from a company and of a commercial nature. So it's more likely to get deleted before the person reads that first sentence. I mean, what you really want to do is get people, to read that first sentence and then hopefully hook them at that point. I'm a huge fan of one or fewer images in an email, although, I would want to clarify with Scott as to what he means by creative, because oftentimes when people say creative, they're also talking about the content of the email, the actual text or verbiage, which of course is a huge part of what this starter package does do, is with
right.
with SalesScripter creating the right verbiage, and with the consultation, which the consultation in and of itself, trust me, would be worth far more than the total cost for everything. But with those combined, you are going to get some very good verbiage. I mean, I know from my own experience, even though I consider myself to be a reasonable copywriter, it still is oftentimes the biggest hurdle to get over. Just, what do I say? What's the first sentence? What's the angle that I'm going to take? And that's really what this starter kit is definitely going to help you with. That oftentimes is the more difficult part, or the bigger hurdle to get over, than the actual creative, quote unquote, which in my personal opinion does not need a lot of emphasis put on it.
Yeah, great point. Absolutely, I agree completely. And in fact, that's why we call it a starter kit, because what you're talking about right there for us, what we see with our customers is they just get stuck writing that first email. They just don't know what to say. And so SalesScripter helps you get that framed, and then as a part of the starter kit, we're going to write them for you. We'll do that for you. Your role is just to, take the copy that we draft and read through it and make sure we just didn't get something totally wrong or misunderstand your business or your audience somehow, and make some adjustments. So it's really turnkey. And after going through this process and creating 3 emails, you'll get it. You'll know exactly how to create your own from that point forward. It's just like Forrest said, less is more. Just a few sentences and a link is really the ideal. Well, okay. Well, I really appreciate everybody joining us today, and I know we've gone over a little bit here. I appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. What will happen next is you'll be getting an email tomorrow as a follow-up to this webinar, and in that email you'll have links to sign up to SalesScripter, start your LeadFerret account, and start your SalesNexus 30-day free trial, and there'll be a link to the sign-up page for our starter kit. So you can go ahead and get started with that. And of course, you can also go to salescripter.com, leadferret.com, and salesnexus.com and get it all started right now as well. So you'll be getting an email later today. It'll also include, not later today, sorry, tomorrow morning. It'll also include a link to the recording of this webinar as well as the slides. So you'll have access to that to share with other people on your team and so on. So Forrest, thanks very much for joining us today. Appreciate your input. And thanks to everybody. Have a great afternoon, and you'll be hearing it from us tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.